Hello, everybody. This playlist is dedicated to specific lessons that coincide with your OWLs that all tie to one of two examples that you need to know for paper 2 of the IB exam. The first topic, the first case study we're going to be going over is Nazi Germany. So the first components we're going to talk about is the emergence of authoritarian states. So what exactly is the emergence of authoritarian states, or what is it that IB is going to ask of you on the exam? So in the first section, there are 3 sections for each case study. In the first section, it's all about the emergence of authoritarian states. Emergence. Emergence means when something is coming to power, when something is rising, when something is first setting themselves up, and the steps that it's going to take leading to the establishment or the consolidation and maintenance of power, as you will hear later. So the following videos that we're going to be going over is going to be a video dedicated to each component that could be either what the exam will be about or 2 points that the exam will ask you about. So what are those 2 points? Well, the first, they're divided into 2 categories. The first is conditions in which authoritarian states emerged. The second is methods used to establish authoritarian states. So these 2 bullet points are asking 2 very different perspectives. The first one, conditions in which authoritarian states emerged. This is going to be asking, and we're going to be learning about things that were happening around the country that helped the Nazi Party come to power. So it's things that were outside of the Nazis' control. It was outside of the things that the Nazis could do. It was either external factors, external issues, external events that created issues within Germany. These 4 points, the 4 videos that are relevant to this, are economic factors, social divisions, impact of war, and weaknesses of political systems. So let's break down each one of those and what they mean. So, economic factors. An economic factor, or the economy, has to deal with a system of money or goods and services, production and output that a country has. So what this is asking is, how was economics or the economy a factor that either hurt the country or impacted the country? So for that, we're going to talk about events where the German dollar was worth nothing, where Germany was so economically broken that they couldn't function as a society. The next one, social divisions. Social divisions is how the country was divided, how they were separated between different groups of people. This could be ethnic, this could be religious, this could be political. It's any sort of division, any sort of clash between different groups of people. So if it's an economic class, right, we're talking about the division between upper class and middle class, right? We're talking about the division between low class and middle class, low class and high class. If it's political, we're talking about communism versus Nazism, or Nazism versus the religious party, the Catholic Party of Germany. It's any sort of division that exists between peoples that can be manipulated. In this case, we're looking at how I can see, as let's say in this example, as I can see 2 people fighting. So I'm going to go to each of them, talk smack about the other one, and get both of those fighting groups on my side, making me ultimately twice as strong and them only as strong as they can be. The next one, impact of war. This one's pretty self-explanatory. It's how much World War I impacted Germany. It was the biggest, largest, most relevant war in German history up to this point. And ultimately, how did the impacts of the war, what happened after the war, leave Germany broken? The last component for the conditions is weaknesses of political systems. Essentially, the weaknesses of a government, how the government could be easily broken, how the government wasn't strong enough to do things, or how it was essentially, for lack of a better word, just broken in any sense of the word, why it wasn't functioning. And this could be because of social divisions. If two different groups of people don't want to get together, well, hey, I can't pass a vote. If my government has a lot of debt that I have to pay because of World War I can't function as a government. So in the conditions, it's all of those outlying things. Now, methods is different. Methods is exclusively focusing on what the Nazis did. What did they do to achieve and get themselves in power? That's why it's methods used to establish, to bring in authoritarian power. For this one, it's a little bit longer. We have 5 different subcategories that we need to discuss: persuasion and coercion, role of leadership, ideology, use of force, and propaganda. So what do each of these mean? Well, methods used to establish authoritarian states, persuasion and coercion, is how was the Nazi Party successful in convincing people to join them, which is persuasion, or using violence as a form of coercion, using threats to get people to support them or to get people to back away. Now, the role of leaders. The role of leaders is where we're going to highlight specific leaders and their particular role within the Nazis to allow or to help the creation of the Nazi Party and how much they could grow. Ideology. What was the actual ideology of the Nazi Party? We all know some form or another of what Nazism is. We can kind of explain a little bit of it. But what is it at its core? It is really what this is asking. And it's a lot deeper than you think it's going to be. The fourth one is the use of force. How was violence, specifically violence, used to either reduce the roles of people, to damage the country, to damage other political parties, and how death and destruction was used to make things better for the Nazi Party. Use of force and coercion, these two can be a little bit together, except when we're usually looking for coercion, we're looking for to stop people from doing something. Use of force is the Nazis doing an action to promote themselves. And finally, propaganda. Propaganda is the use of spreading a message, spreading some sort of biased point to convince people to join you. It's manipulating narratives, it's lying, it's twisting situations so that you can portray yourself, you can portray your message as truthful. In the following list, there's going to be 9. It's going to be 9 videos. Each video is dedicated to each of these examples. Each video is specifically labeled in order by these bullet points. So, conditions in which authoritarian states emerged, economic factors is the first video after this one. And it's going to go all the way until we get to propaganda. Please make sure to really laser in and focus on it. And after we get to propaganda, there'll be another video like this to explain the next section, the next third of the information we need to know, which is when the Nazis come to power. So whenever you see emergence, whenever you see conditions in which authoritarian states or methods used to establish, all of this is talking about before Hitler came to power. Everything we're going to be discussing happens before he comes to power and the Nazi Party comes to power. Because remember, this is authoritarian states. So we're not just focusing on Hitler, we're focusing on all of Germany, all of Nazi Germany. So when we really explore, and as we explore these next few videos, please keep that in mind.